in computer to start the day. Looks like it's starting to roll. Let's take a look at my live dashboard. All right. Looks like I may be getting some feed here. Today we're going to be talking about Korea. Why Korea, you might ask? Well, Korea is trying to crack down, specifically South Korea, right? North Korea collects Bitcoin, but they do it through hacking, and it's not really part of their economy. But South Korea is huge. They account for a large portion of the Bitcoin market, and what's going on today is they are trying to crack down specifically on anonymous trading in South Korea. And what this is doing is making a lot of people push and sell their Bitcoin. We could see this in, if we take a look here in Bittrex, which is more of an American market. We are looking at 1440, 1490. There's been some pullbacks, okay? And we go over here to gate.io, which is more of that part of the world, more of a Russian or maybe Korean type of exchange. And we could see the price is a little lower. My socket settings are kind of slow at the moment. If you guys have any questions, I am watching the chat line, so go ahead and send them through. But what's going on here is we're seeing a little bit more of a push down on that side of the world than this side of the world. This opens up some interesting trade opportunities. You're actually able, well, not at the moment, but if you follow this, you'll see several opportunities where you could buy over here and sell over here at the exact same time and reap the difference. That's how some of the more advanced trading bots work. But I guess the big question is, what's going on with Bitcoin? Is it going to keep going down? Is it going to, should we be buying? Should we be selling? Right here, we could almost see a line forming. A lot of times, this is how, when we program the bots, this is what we tell them to look for. We'll have them draw artificial lines. This would be a line that comes right down this hill, showing basically a downgrade. If you could imagine, here to here is almost a straight line. So if it could break through this, it'll probably pop up, or it will trigger the trading bots as more accurate to think that it's popping up, which will actually make it trade up, because most of this trade volume is bots trading the same money over and over and over and over again. So Korea, that's what we came to talk about. Why are they cracking down on these crypto coins, right? This is a good thing. This is a good thing for us, okay? Governments hate Bitcoin. They hate crypto coins. They hate all that stuff. Let's not forget where Bitcoin started, okay? It all started with a bailout of the banks and the auto companies back in 2009. And Satoshi seen this and said, this world kind of sucks when you could just print new money and bail people out. So we were switching to this. If we switch to this, it's going to be a huge redistribution of wealth, because there's going to be huge squeezes. A lot of people that are just not ready are getting into this, and they make mistakes and they get squeezed out. I do teach a class on crypto for newbies, and one thing I always tell a newbie is don't just run and try and jump in. Okay, you need to kind of get your feet on the ground, because there's a learning curve. Bitcoin is simple. It's really simple, but it is more confusing than you think. This South Korea thing. Why did I decide to do a video on it? Like, it's not big news that a country is trying to ban or crack down on Bitcoin. China did it, and I think there was another one, maybe Australia or something. There's been a few. Several people have tried to stop Bitcoin, but here's the thing about Bitcoin, it's unstoppable, right? It's not regulated, it's decentralized. You cannot stop it. They can't stop it, at least not with current technology. So this is a good sign. This shows that Korea is afraid of Bitcoin. Probably the main reason is because there's taxes they're not able to collect, but no country is going to like a monetary system where they can't just print more money, because if they mess up, it could bankrupt them. And the weak shall perish, and the strong shall rise, right? That's usually how Bitcoin goes. We had some more news out of South Korea a few days ago, and that was about Ripple. Ripple, this is big news. Ripple is, they're getting together with 60 plus banks in South Korea, and they are building a new system. It's going to be similar to a Western Union type system, and they're going to use Ripple or Ripple's blockchain to help process these transactions. And that's going to take a lot of money. That's going to take a lot of leverage, a lot of fluid. Ripple, I think, is undervalued at the moment. The only reason I think that is because of what they were doing. But I wouldn't worry too much about this South Korea thing. However, it definitely is going to make for some interesting trading opportunities where you could buy at 380, 13,870, and sell at 13,902, right? Instantly. A lot of these trades, that's why you see these dips, even over here on the other side of the world, where this guy is dropping while people have programmed their bots to trade for them, and they have percentage thresholds, but they buy here, they sell there. It's considered a zero risk trade because they're market neutral at all times. They're constantly, all they're doing is passing this on to the next exchange, if that makes sense. Because Bitcoin moves so fast, right? If someone comes over here to Bittrex, this is something to understand about Bitcoin that's important, okay? You may have heard, the higher you go, the thinner the air. This is really, really true in Bitcoin. And what this means is there's the size, these walls. If we look at the volume book, these aren't very big. I mean, they're big, but it's only $2 million, right? That's not big for Bitcoin. So if someone came along and wanted to sell $1 million worth of Bitcoin and cash out, they're going to put a huge market difference right here, especially if they do it all in one trade. And that's where the bot comes in, because it will sense that gap and it'll reopen a trade over here to make up the difference. So basically it'll be selling you coin, right? If we came here and we said we want to sell coin all the way to here, but we're going to lose money. Well, no, you're not. Let me tell you how to do it, okay? And you really only notice this after you've been trading for a while. You only sell coin to here, a little bit. So instead of going here and clicking all the way down and saying, oh, I need my $1 million, I'd have to sell all the way down to 1301 to get the sum of $1 million. No, you don't have to. You could actually just sell to 13.6 and wait a second. And within like 2 seconds, the bots will analyze the difference. They will buy coin here, and without having to trade it, they will pull money out of their account, which they hold here, and put more coin up for sale at these better prices. So you could just keep selling right here, so you're not beating down the market. This is important, especially if you're dealing in a low volume market. I know we said we were going to talk about South Korea, but I'm also going to talk about general trading knowledge. Again, I never give any financial advice, okay? This is just me talking to myself, but I will give you my opinion if you ask, and you need to make up your own mind. But if it sounds like I'm trying to tell you what to do, I'm not. I am talking to myself in a way where it sounds good to you, if that makes sense. So what we're going to do is talk about volume and how thin the air is. A good place we could see this is in Dogecoin or Dogcoin. If we come here, what we're going to see is big walls, bigger than you would think, because a lot of people are in this coin. And I know this is real newbie stuff. If anyone else has a question, let me know. If you're watching this at a later time, post a comment. So right here, this sum is the total of all the orders put together. So right now it's 2, and then 2 plus 25 is 28, and then that 28 plus 10 is 38. So that's how that's working. But look at this. We've got $1 million to about right here, because those are Bitcoins. And it takes about 70 Bitcoins, give or take, to make $1 million today. So you could come here and drop $100,000 and not affect the price at all. Now, let's say you just started out and you invested in a coin. This happened to me several times, and you forgot about it, right? A month, a year passes by, and you go to look and you say, oh my God, I have freaking tons of these coins. And you start looking at the market. Let's look at this one, grid coin. Excuse me. Okay. So Gridcoin is one I like to follow. I was talking about it earlier. That's not from me, but that just sort of happens with this coin. We see this 6 to 7 almost every day. But the volume is real low. 30 Bitcoins. I mean, yeah, that's still $500,000 on this one exchange. But if we had, 10,000, look at this volume, the sum only adds up to 2 Bitcoins. And this is something you have to pay attention to when you're trying to trade. Because if you come back and say, hey, I've got 500,000 of these coins, well, if you try and dump them now, you could kill the whole market. So you dump them slowly, and the bot will make the trades and bring them back. Let's take a look at the general markets. Again, if anyone has questions, feel free to post them. And we will talk about that sort of stuff. My live feeds may be a little more advanced. If you're one of my new people that I'm training, and you don't understand something that we're talking about right now, or that I'm talking about, don't worry about it. You will. And don't get overwhelmed. So, it would appear that Ripple is up. Is it really up? What an odd question, right? See, there's two different values of Ripple. There's a cash value, or a USTD. This is the US dollar tether, which is about $1.25, which it was about a week ago. And then there's the Bitcoin value. And Bitcoin value seems to be on the rise, but I think most of that has to do with the fact that the value of Bitcoin is dropping. So the value of Ripple isn't dropping, but the value of Bitcoin is. I like when I see days like this, when it's all beat down, when you just come and you look. Here's one of my early trading things that I used to do. And it might sound crazy, but it actually kind of works. I would come and I would click on just seeing what's beat down the most, what has the biggest. I click on change here, and it shows me the biggest gains and the biggest dips. If you ever see a big gain like this, 124%, and you know there's no reason for it, it's a pump and dump. Pump and dumps are done by groups of people. They love to do it with black coin here. They've been doing it since black coin started, even before. But they'll get together and they'll slowly buy coin, and then one day they start sending tweets and messages and saying this to the moon, that to the moon, whatever. And people will buy. I don't know why, but people buy. So I had to get all the way to page 5 until I caught something with a 0. So that means the first 4, 5 pages are all on increases. Okay, this is a good day for altcoins. I've seen days where the first page was the only one showing an increase and everything else was beat. Now, why do we have a higher percentage of some of these going up? Is because of this. This is something you have to remember. You can make a lot of money with this simple little trick. If Bitcoin goes down, usually the altcoins go up. And then as Bitcoin goes up, the altcoins go down. So you see people selling this and buying over here into anything, something that rises. A lot of people will just buy across the board. I don't like to do that because it takes forever. But if you're nifty with your programming, you can program a bot to do it. And it's a little easier that way. So you're not completely invested in something, but don't worry about that. Let's see. I haven't really taken a moment today to look and see, what are my holdings doing. Right now, there's only a few coins that I'm holding. One is Digibyte. And it says it's beat down, but it's trading at a higher price than I bought at. So that's good. I like this coin because, here, I'll show you. Okay. You remember I was talking about a pump and a dump, all right? It's kind of unethical. Sometimes people will do it and it'll last 5 minutes and people lose money, huge amounts of money in like 5 minutes. And other times they'll do a pump and dump that takes weeks. And what we're going to look at is the 1 week chart of Digibyte. Look at this, okay? Now, when I started buying was right here. Because I said, that's it, that's the level. It's right about with the level over here, if you can see my line going across. So I knew that this was the level that the pump and dumpers bought at before. They were buying all of this. Usually when it's falling and it's hitting a wall, and it's a great big wall, it's because somebody is buying a ton of it. and it's the whales. And they're getting richer and richer. The point is, I think this rise is just on the beginning. It might take several weeks, but we could see quite an increase, especially if there's a Bitcoin pullback. Okay, if Bitcoin pulls back to the $8,000 or $5,000 range, this could go past that, because this is a good coin. Well, I like this coin. A lot of times people will ask, what makes a coin a good coin? And you know what? I don't know. I don't know. He don't know. She don't know. Nobody knows. Well, we do, but there's a lot of different ways to look at it. One thing you got to look at is how many coins are there. Let's talk about that for a minute. So we're going to go to a website called Coin Market Cap. And again, if you have questions, post them, but I'm rambling through this just sort of as a general education type thing for people that don't know or wouldn't know. And right here, circulating supply is going to tell you how many coins are out there. In Bitcoin, there's 16 million right now, 16,700,000 and whatever. Ether's got 96. That's why you see, right? And you're like, well, why is Ripple only $1 when Bitcoin is 15 grand almost? And the answer is the number of coins. Look at how many Ripples there are. 38 billion. 38 billion. So that means if Bitcoin hits $5, then it's worth, if Ripple hits $5, then it's worth more than Bitcoin at the time being. I don't expect that to happen. Earlier, we were talking about Ripple and why I like Ripple. And the answer was because the banks in China and South Korea are trying to use Ripple, 60 banks, and I believe $56 billion is not enough. That's less than $1 billion per bank to try and work with. And one thing about a bank is they go through a lot of money. Man. Holy cow. Look, everything else is beat down except Ripple, right? Have you watched? You watch my videos? Did you watch my video a few days ago? The rise of Ripple? I wonder. Why would I say such a thing? Well, because I had a feeling it was going to keep rising even though this other shit would get beat down. IOTA, I bought this stuff at like 3 cents, and I don't know. I had it on an exchange that has since banned Americans, but I think I only had like 20 bucks worth. Like today's price, 20 bucks worth. Bitcoin Gold. This is a fork of Bitcoin. Okay. This one, it's very similar to Bitcoin Cash. Okay, a little bit of education here. If you look at Bitcoin Cash, it's trading at 2,500 bucks. Why is Bitcoin Cash trading 2,500, yet Bitcoin Gold is only 285? Well, I'll explain it to you. There's a big difference. There's this fight, this argument that has been going on in the Bitcoin community, because there's two power sources, okay, that are main to how the Bitcoin community is working. One of them is the programmers, and they want the program to run as smooth as possible. And the other is the miners, okay? The miners control a lot of Bitcoin, and they're making all the new Bitcoin. Now, when Bitcoin forked off Bitcoin Cash, this is kind of like a special dividend of Bitcoin. If you were holding Bitcoin back a few months ago and it's still there, then you automatically have Bitcoin Cash. If you're holding it in a private key, like a wallet, and you sent your Bitcoin out and you say, oh my God, my Bitcoin Cash, where's it at? It's still there. It just might be a little tricky. If you need help getting it out, let me know. I'll try and do a video, but that's a whole other. If you had your Bitcoin on an exchange, then your Bitcoin Cash will just pop up. Like on my Coinbase account. I went and logged in the other day, and I was like, whoa, there's a bunch of Bitcoin Cash in there, right? Not much Bitcoin Cash, but the same amount as Bitcoin I had. So why is this one so high? Sometimes I ramble a little bit. If anyone would chat, that might keep me on track. But that will happen sooner or later. So Bitcoin Cash uses the same algorithm as Bitcoin. So the miners that are able to mine Bitcoin are able to turn their machines to mine Bitcoin Cash. That's exactly what I did, actually. I don't know if you could hear it. I got a miner running in the background, 1,000 gigahash, and I'm mining Bitcoin Cash. That drives up the price. That's the stuff I like. Now, Bitcoin Gold. Same thing. A fork off of Bitcoin, meaning if you held Bitcoin at the time when they created this, then you automatically got this. Or you're automatically entitled to it. There's probably a lot of people that are losing their Bitcoin Gold because they don't know what they're doing. So why is this one so low? Okay. It's still at $4 billion. The difference that makes it 285, they changed the algorithm. This one is more programmer friendly, the route the programmers wanted to go. And they didn't want these big Bitcoin mining farms wasting 3% of the world's power supply on mining Bitcoin. They wanted to redistribute it. So with Bitcoin Gold, the algorithm changed, so now people with normal computers are able to mine it more profitably. Now, here's the thing. Okay, let's say you new to Bitcoin and you're thinking, I wish I would have bought it a year ago when it was only like 200 and some bucks, man, or 2 years ago. Well, guess what? Here it is, right here, right now. You can buy them for 285 bucks. And one day they will grow this big. They will. All of these will grow this big because this price right here is, so it's overpriced for where we're at, but it's underpriced in the bigger picture, okay? This will hit 100,000, 250,000, 500,000, 750,000, $1 million bucks. And I'm sure when it hits $1 million bucks, there's going to be a huge pullback because that's like everyone's dream price. They're going to trade that one Bitcoin for $1 million bucks. But they're going to cry when it hits 2 million and 5 million and 20 million. That may be a little farther out than we're seeing, but you never can tell. The thing about Bitcoin is you picture what Bitcoin can do in like 10 years. Like if people loved it, what could happen to Bitcoin if you gave it 10 years? And what happens is all that stuff happens by next year. They're like supercharged. But yeah, a lot of the altcoins are beat down today. An altcoin for newbies is any coin that is not Bitcoin. So this is an altcoin. That's 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 an altcoin, right? Maybe you know that, but when I first started in 2013, I was like literally searching altcoin. And look, there it is. and they didn't. I don't think they had it back then. Altcoin appears to be a. I've never even seen this before. That's funny. The thing is, there's 1,300 currencies, and there's some currencies I find that ain't even on here, and I buy them because I believe in what they're doing. But maybe I'll do a video on that, how to find the coins that aren't even on the markets yet, man. Where you could use your laptop or your cell phone to mine these things and get a ton of them, and then if something ever happens. But if someone's talking about altcoins, they're not talking about this, okay? No. Don't know what the hell that is. It's only got a market cap of 237 Bitcoins. But, hey, looking at it, check this out. There really ain't many altcoins out there. I wonder who's trading them. So if I come here and I find a coin and I say, hey, where can I buy this coin? Then I would look at the market and see where it's on Cryptopia and CSEX. I'm going to look more into that. Just because it's like the distinguished gentleman, right? I'm sure some of you may have seen that Eddie Murphy gets elected off of name recognition alone. Well, so many people talking about altcoins, and there's going to be a certain percentage of noobs or newbies that go out and say, oh, he said altcoins going up, I should buy. So I don't know. I'll look more into that when I'm not live. So again, Korea cracking down on Bitcoin, right? Get in line. Everyone's cracking down on Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's bigger than any one country. So it doesn't matter. Even if they somehow succeed it wouldn't hurt Bitcoin too bad. And it wouldn't phase it at all in the long run. It might even actually make it better. Let's see here. Look at my dashboard. This is BitSolid. I'm doing test videos on this on my website. I do not advise anyone to invest in this yet until I see how it turns out, because I don't want any new people losing money. But I threw this much in about 10 days ago, and this is what it's claimed to have given back. Notice I say claimed, because until the money's in my hand, until the Bitcoin's in your wallet, you don't have anything. And that's just the way that it is. So I am going to, let's see, I've been going about half an hour here. And I don't see any questions posted to the chat, but that's okay because I'm new as far as streaming, right? I'm not new to Bitcoin. I've been around Bitcoin a little longer than I'd like to admit. I've actually made some coins. And that's a whole different story. I like the development end of it. I spent most of my time there. I've been working on some games and some alternate trading or mining ideas. But none of it's ready. I need one of you guys, probably you. You're watching. I don't know if you're watching now or in the future, but you know that you have some experience that might be relevant. And send me a message, and maybe you can get in on some of the stuff I'm doing. But on days like this, I'm really not. I feel like I want to go and buy a coin, but I don't think I'm going to. because all I have is, little bits of Bitcoin that are free anyway to buy. But what I use is a meter, is this right here. Look at this red coin and dog or Dogecoin. They're still at 54 and 72. Like, I feel bad for the people that are going to buy at 54 and 72, because these coins have been doing this since the beginning, and they will drop back down in the teens, guarantee it. And when they do, that's when you know the market is beat down and it's a good buying opportunity, or that's how I know. Okay, so again, any questions, post them at the bottom. This was a live feed here, December 28th. I would keep these things going longer if there was a little more interaction, right? But there's not. At the moment, it's just me talking to myself, which is fun because I do this stuff all the time. Okay, Bitcoin's going to pull back. South Korea, it's going to take several days for their pullback to happen. So I imagine the market will get beat down, especially in the evening hours here in America when people are awake in South Korea and actively trading, right? If they're asleep, they can't be doing that. All right, until next time. And then again, I could go live at any time, especially if there's Bitcoin news. I try and send a tweet out, so follow me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook if you can, right? Follow me on